Welcome back everybody, it's DestinysJesus here. In this video I'm looking at how to W key like CHAPIX. This guy's been an absolute terror recently. He won the Churro Cash Cup, the first FNCS qualifier. He's probably looking one of the favourites to actually win FNCS, and he's been so consistent in all these solo Cash Cups so far. He got 9th place in the recent one with a load of really good W key things, and the reason I want to review him is because he's actually one of those pros that I feel like a lot of other pros are scared to fight. Kind of how Renault O'Reilly is at the moment. Just basically so many pros are scared to fight him in game just because of how smart he plays his angles, and there's definitely some things you can learn from. If you guys didn't know, during this tournament, CHAPIX is actually on 40 ping and on packet loss. This will be a really educational video. We're just not watching somebody who's just running around taking walls first try and just instant editing. There's so many smart things in terms of wall replaces, strategies to actually approach boxes that you guys can learn from. So I hope you enjoy. Make sure to like if you did, and also subscribe if you're new. This is pretty much a perfect fight from CHAPIX here. It goes on for a little while, so I think this is a really good example to show you guys of how you should be playing your solo fights out. First of all, you're trying to open it by getting a beam. It's always very important to actually have a good advantage when you start a fight. A 30 tag is still good enough to push, especially because it's quite an isolated fight on the beach of little third party opportunities. Because even more damage as he pushes in. Now, what's the priority here? First of all is to stop the guy from healing, and then obviously tries to do some more damage and close the fight as quick as possible. Notice how he does that. Again, preps the wall, the shotgun as he drops, goes to instant take, and CHAPIX is so good at always forcing in builds. Again, gets another chip tag, comes around, gets another force in build, gets another chip tag, and he's just going to constantly pressure and push this guy. Here, again, as the guy goes for the counter peak, CHAPIX forces that stare in, forces the guy out to rebox. Something I've talked about loads in the past is making sure you carry fish when you want to take a fight in solos, mainly because it allows you to quick heal. Here, CHAPIX stops the guy from healing at all because he pops one as shield fish and he's instantly back into the fight. Shield fish is pretty much broken heal at the moment, just because you can do plays like this. Keeps up the pressure, chasing this guy down. It's actually a pretty decent play. Gets some nice counter shots off here. Again, trying not to let the other opponent heal, goes for a shield fish, and then he's instantly going to start W-keying them again. Places the floor there, and then simply just waits for this last trade shot as the guy sprays his floor. Very clean fight, didn't waste too many heals on it. Obviously went through a shield fish, but he gets a lot of reinvestment of that, mainly the bouncers. Bouncers are something that you really need for solo cash comps. That's so important. So if you can W key until you have bouncers, from there you can play a more relaxed playstyle and just have a good day in game. This is a really nice wall replay strategy that you can do if you're high ping or you just struggle with consistently getting walls regardless of your ping. So as you can see here, CHAPIX comes in, first of all, approaches on the left-hand side wall. This is really important. Swings on it once, leaves this blue marker there for a second, and then he starts approaching his right-hand wall, the kind of typical wall that you normally would go for. Wavy Charlie kind of expecting this, is going to try to go for some counter peek. CHAPIX realizing this, and he's got the wall still 1 HP, doesn't even bother trying to trade the counter peek, even though he could out damage the guy with a charge. He simply goes around, focuses on the wall the guy's not even paying attention to, he's not holding at all. Then he goes for the cone slide, perfectly swings up the ramp to actually get the nice shot off, jumps over the other shot, and then he swings back in with a charge. Perfectly played, really simple ways. Just make sure you get that wall 1 HP, focus the other one, and then swap back to the original wall. 0-point fish one's broken rotation items, especially in the endgame, but CHAPIX uses them really well here in his mid-game fight. First we get to that tag on the guy, uses the fish to actually close the distance, and look how he uses it to actually get an off angle here. He goes the whole way around, catches an unexpected angle where he gets a dink on the guy, and immediately getting the damage in, he does a simple phase trick, shotguns the wall as he jumps through, and he gets completely behind the guy, doesn't expect it at all. If you can use a 0-point fish during a mid-game fight, especially when you've only got one of them, you can easily just get a load of loot back in return here, so he has the option of swapping it to bigs, minis, or floppers. It's really useful just getting in a box and ending a fight quickly, and make sure that you use it in terms of swapping up your angles as well when trying to W key someone like CHAPIX did. In this endgame here, CHAPIX actually some really good box fight fundamentals to eliminate this other player. First of all, just coning and blocking off all the angles, coning in front as well, and then playing around from this long distance. Always try to think of your AR or even shotgun in some cases as an extended pickaxe. You don't actually need to go up and pickaxe the wall. Use your AR to break it from a distance like CHAPIX does here. He's still playing around that right peak and actually gets the wall. And look at this perfect edit he does. Blueprint edit from a long distance, gives himself a small right hand advantage as well. Now, as the guy hasn't realized and reacted properly to CHAPIX taking his wall, he comes up, plays around this right hand peak of the wall perfectly, slides in, and the right hand peaks pretty simply twice and gets a free elim and refresh towards the end game. This is just a small play, but it's like really useful. If you have a shambles and carrying a gas can, try to save it for as long as possible into the 50-50 zone. At this point, there's always going to be people late rotating in that are going to be shambles. CHAPIX spots the guy actually going for the medkit in this box. He preempts exactly where it is, throws the gas can down, pops it, and then preempts where the guy is. Really good AR and tracking. And then here, he knows the guy's going to panic. He's building wood. Other people are going to start spamming him. So CHAPIX just keeps spamming the same angle and actually gets the elim. If you had a harpoon, that would be a free refresh as well, just a little bit out of distance, but that's still a really nice play that you can do if you ever have a gas can. Again, continuing the theme of always trying to open a fight with a massive advantage, carrying a sniper is perfect at that. Get to snipe, and something I think that's very important that people need to learn from CHAPIX especially, is the fact that you can invest movement into ending a fight, and trying to end that fight as quick as possible. Also here, a really nice technique is just shooting the wall to get it 1 HP as you come in, gets it 1 HP with his AR, now commits him with the shotgun, cone slide instantly, and he eliminates the other pro player extremely quickly. Really good fundamentals, and he literally ran through a pro within milliseconds just because of how he hit that snipe, closed the distance, and then got on the box instantly. Something I think is really underrated in Fortnite, especially in solos when it comes to fighting, is just trying to mind game your opponent, trying to bait them out by doing something smart, and CHAPIX is a perfect example of that here, and he does it throughout all of his games. So there again, the first thing is just trying to go for that bait chop out, immediately forces the guy to dropping, and then again here, going for another bait chop out, starts swinging on the top roof, obviously looks like he's going to double swing, and you can see instantly he pulls out a shotgun before even swinging on it, knowing how the guy's going to react, thinking he's got a free shot. Gets a nice timing shot, immediately places the wall to his right and swings to the right at the same time. Now he simply waits again. I know, perfect pay. As soon as he realizes the guy's going to go for an edit, he realizes he's in a really shambles situation. He has to actually go for a play because he's got no mats in his box. He just patiently waits for a shotgun, was going to go for a shotgun wall take, and gets a free limit Osborne against Greek for deal. Again, another mid-game fight where CHAPIX opens it up, going for a snipe. Gets a nice quick scope on this guy as he pressures forward, and look how he sets up on this wall. Double cone as he comes in from the right and peak, pressuring on his one wall, and as soon as the guy places this, doesn't even bother going for the broad place at this point, immediately thinks about how the guy can rebox and exit. It's so important if you're fighting somebody in solos. People always cry and complain about people reboxing forever in solos, and it's become a really bad issue as people run for ages. But look how quickly CHAPIX ends this fight at high-low versus the third player. Blocks off of both walls on towards the top side, opens a nice wide double edit, and then just gets a free elim just like that. I've been watching a load of CHAPIX's games where he hits headshot snipes, so I'm going to tell you guys how to avoid them. It's a lot harder than I think it is. Mainly it comes down to awareness and also your movement. First of all, just look at this bad movement from this other player, running in a straight line for a long period of time with their pickaxe out, and here you can see exactly where CHAPIX aims to shoot. Puts his crosshair in front of where the guy is jumping and exactly where he's going to land. The guy lands straight in the bullet and hits a headshot snipe. It's really simple to do from CHAPIX's POV. All you do is literally just figure out where the guy's going to land off that jump, and it is always the same motion as at the end of the jump, since you always go the same distance. One thing that I'd recommend to avoid that is trying to move midair as you're jumping, so you're a bit less harder to be predictable, and also just making sure you strafe a little bit more mid-game. One thing that CHAPIX is really good at is just pre-firing his opponents whenever they give them the opportunity to. So here he's fighting this good player off spawn at Aqua Island, and CHAPIX is basically just going to go for a load of pre-fires and explain how he's doing these so consistently. First of all, nice pre-fire as the guy for the ramp, especially when you're fighting versus a charge, you can always pre-fire. And again, just going for simple pre-fires when somebody opens an edit, exactly like that. Now here he's going to go for this jumping left-hand peek, again, trying to play the range advantage with the lever versus attack. Goes to have a pre-fire attempt, and this is actually where it gets a little bit more full scuffed, and he realizes they get his full box. A very important thing in these kind of situations is not panic and overbuild and rebox, it's just to figure out exactly where your opponent's going to peek you from. He realizes the guy's running, sees him through the ramp, and they simply jump out exactly into where he's pre-aiming. Important thing for pre-fires is getting your crosshair placement perfect. Think exactly where they're going to peek from, what's the most likely angle that they're going to edit from on any type of edit that they're going to do in that situation. What I think is really useful for this is whenever you're VODing is just go back and actually figure out what kind of peek would you do in this situation from the opponent's POV, and then pre-aim where they're going to be moving from like that. There's some more examples in this game where CHAPIX actually saw Noah Riley in a mid-game fight. Noah Riley was really confused about who he was fighting because of how much they were pre-firing him, which is actually pretty funny. This is a really nice example by CHAPIX in terms of mid-game fighting IQ. So here he shoots out the guy's connecting build back in Storm. Again, looking for that connecting build. Whenever you're in a kind of water fight like this, try to shoot out those walls that connect in the ocean. So right there he gets a beam, realizes that he's got a really good HP advantage, so he's confident taking his Tfue classic peek from above. Very simple fight. The guy really had nothing to do in that situation. So here it is, the fight between Noah Riley, probably arguably the best fighter in the world at the moment, especially mechanics and aim wise, and then versus CHAPIX, and how quickly CHAPIX is able to defeat him in a pretty even mid-game fight. First of all, that really nice pre-fire that you got there. Again, just pre-aiming exactly where you think the guy's going to peek from. Both of them take some time to actually go ahead and full heal up in just a second, and now they re-engage. Again, another really nice open edit you did there. CHAPIX actually baited out which way he was going to move, and then counter-peeked from the same angle that Noah didn't really expect. Now here again, another nice pre-fire again, just as somebody goes for a wall break on you, just quickly getting a timing shot with the lever since there's very little delay on it. Another pre-fire as he goes over the top. Might seem like he's just taking loads of these, but he basically is just doing that non-stop over and over. Now here he gets the white tag on Noah. One thing that's important is whenever you get somebody low, is to not rush. Noah can still hit 1 max damage charge here, and CHAPIX would die just from a body shot. So he takes his time in full heals up, and then re-engages from above. Another nice timing shot again from above, then he drops down, does the exact same thing again, just quickly going for these brief peaks where he just gets a little bit of damage in. Now here he's not overcommitting into the box, he knows he's fighting a very good player, probably knows Noah's in this game, and he's at high-low. One thing that you can actually learn from him here is just the fact that he's sliding in that cone from underneath. Really important technique. It's kind of the Houdini cone from Deal. You basically slide in a cone from underneath and make it very awkward for the opponent to box fight around it. Here again, waiting for a really patient peek. And again, this is just IQ in-game from CHAPIX coming out. He doesn't immediately hit the bouncer in a predictable shot where Noah can just easily hit a max charge on him. Instead, he places it, waits for Noah's counter peek for a few seconds, and then readjusts and changes the angle he's going to come from. Jumps in with a really nice exploit. You didn't know you can actually do that exploit straight from below as he did there, as long as you time your jump properly, and then he commits in finally. Never committing in too early into the box, waits for the perfect opportunity, Noah's not really expecting it, and then he jumps straight in. This is something extremely underrated, but it's really important in mid-game fights, and I see a lot more pros starting to do this, and you guys definitely need to apply it to your own games as well. So when you drop on a wall like this, it's actually trying to go for an angle swap. So an angle swap is basically here. CHAPIX goes for this really nice play. There's a top right, then does a cone slide, and gets a very nice juicy angle on this guy from above. One thing you don't want to do is do the exact same edit again and then peek into it the exact same way. So you can see how he swaps it up, completely changes, and also moves as he does this. Moves back, makes it hard for the guy to hit him at all, and then he gets a very nice simple refresh near the end game. He does this the whole way throughout all of his mid-game fights where he takes somebody's wall. Never peek the same edit or angle twice, because it's very easy for the guy to pre-aim and then hit a nice shot on you.